Hello everyone, welcome to Vap Fashions YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. In this video, we'll be learning how to make this beautiful Bubu kaftan we have here on the mannequin. This kaftan has a built-up neckline, and the built-up neckline, it's a V-shaped built-up neckline with the scallop part of the lace on the neckline. So you can see it's a scalloped neckline. It also has these two shoulder pleats that we have on both sides, and then it has a basic sleeve, you see, and then here at the back we have a zipper, and you see we have a zipper at the center back. So this bubu is a fitted bubu kaftan. It's not the regular bubu that is just so free and here. So this can be fitted. So if you fall within the league of people that don't like your gowns too big or your bubu too big, this is a perfect gown to make. And it also has side slits here on both sides. This is really beautiful and very simple to make. I hope this is something you're interested in learning. If this is it, please make sure to keep on watching to the end. And if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please quickly click on the subscribe button to subscribe, and ensure you put on your notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. Feel free to share this video, like this video, and leave a comment. So not feel free to share this video, just make sure to share this video. Thank you. I'll be making use of this cord lace fabric, and I have 4 yards here. I'll be drafting on this pattern paper. I'll be using the pattern paper to show us the illustration on how to achieve this, because I can't mark on this lace so that it doesn't stain it and for us to be able to see clearly what I am doing. So I'll be using this piece of paper, this miniature size, to show us exactly how to achieve this gown. So here I have my paper on fold. So this is going to serve as the front piece, and this will serve as the back piece. So for the back, as you can see, I marked my zip allowance, which is 1 inch. We're going to have a zipper at the back of this kaftan. So this is going to serve as our zip allowance. So our measurement for the back starts from this point. So I'll just pin this together because we're going to be drafting the front and back together at the same time. The measurement needed to achieve this gown is the shoulder measurement, the bust measurement, the waist measurement, the hip measurement, the full length of the gown, and you also need your sleeve length and your round sleeve. These are the measurements needed to achieve this gown. So the first thing I'm going to do is to mark the starting line, which will serve as the shoulder line. So now this is our shoulder line. So the shoulder divided by 2 here, the shoulder I'm working with is 16 inches. So when you divide by 2, that will give us 8 inches. I'll add 1 inch to that measurement. This is because the shoulder is supposed to drop a little bit. So I'm adding 1 inch to that measurement. So let's assume that this is our 9 inches. That's 8 plus 1, so that's 9 inches. So let's assume that this is 9 inches here at this point. So still on the shoulder line, I'm going to mark the round neckline. That's the width of the neckline I'm working with. And I'll be working with a neck width of 3 inches. So let's assume that this is where our 3 inches is. So here where I have the shoulder measurement, I'll come down by the regular 1 inch for our shoulder slant. And then I'm going to connect it like this to the neck width. So now we have the shoulder slant. So next I'll come down by the armhole measurement. And I'm working with an armhole of 7.5 inches. The bust measurement I'm working with is bust 36. So you divide the bust by 6 plus 1.5, you get the armhole measurement. So the armhole I'm working with is 7 inches. And so this is where I'm going to mark my 7.5 inches. I beg your pardon. This is where I'm going to mark the 7.5 inches. So at this point where I have 7.5 inches, I'm going to reconfirm the shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus 1, which is here at this point. So this is for me to have a straight line connecting to the shoulder tip. Okay, so this is going to be the armhole. So this is for both the front and back armhole. So for this armhole, we're not going to come in to remove any excess. This is because this is a kaftan and it's supposed to be free around there to drop a little. So there won't be any need for us to come in and take out any bulge from this armhole. So all I need to do now is just to draw out the armhole like this. Using my armhole curve, I'm just going to draw it out like this. You see? So this is the armhole for both the front and back. So here on the chest line, I'm going to enter the bust measurement divided by 4. And this is our bust measurement divided by 4. So let's assume that this is it here. So meaning that this armhole should just get to this point. So let me just redraw it. So this is our armhole. So let's just cancel this, okay? So this is the armhole we're working with. So the bust measurement divided by 4 is this point. So next I'm going to draw the waistline. So from shoulder to waistline, let's assume that is here. From shoulder to hip line, and this is it here as well. And then this is the full length of the gown. So let's go ahead and straighten out all the lines. Okay, so this is the waistline, the hip line, and then full length. So here on the waistline, I'm going to enter the waist measurement divided by 4. So, and this is it here. Please take note that all my measurements are starting from the center front, away from the zip allowance. So this is our waist measurement here. And then the hip measurement divided by 4, I'm working with hip 41. So 41 divided by 4, that will give us 10.25. So this is where I'm going to mark my 10.25. And then here at the hem of the gown, exactly what I have here at the hip line is like what I will bring down to this point, because it is supposed to be straight. So I'll go ahead and connect the points like this, and then I'll also connect it to the waistline and connect it to the chest line, which is the bust measurement. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark the neck depth. So for this kaftan, it has like a V neckline. The built-up collar is going to be V in shape. So for the front neckline, I'll be working with a depth of 6 inches, a neck depth of 6 inches. So let's assume that this is where our 6 inches is. And I already said that the neck width is 3 inches. So I'll go ahead and connect it like this to the neck width of 3 inches. So this is it. So then for the back neck depth, I'm working with a neck depth of 1 inch for the back. So this is my 1 inch here. And then I'll also go ahead and connect it to the neck width of 3 inches. So this is our back neck depth. So the next thing we're going to do now is to eliminate zipper bulge. You don't want this gown to fold at the back. So to avoid that, here at the waistline, this is our waistline here. Here at the waistline, I will go in by that 1 inch, which is the zip allowance, the entire 1 inch. I'll go in by that 1 inch, and then I'll slant it to connect to the neckline like this. You see? And then I will also slant it to stop above the hip line. You see? So this is to eliminate our zipper bulge. So we're going to be cutting out this part. So next, we're going to have our darts on this line. That's where we're going to have that pleated fabric. That's to achieve that pleats on the shoulder. So to do that, I'm going to mark the bust pan. So the bust pan is the nipple to nipple measurement. And here in this case for my client, her bust pan is 7 inches. So 7 divided by 2, that will give us 3.5. I'll add ½ inch to that measurement. So that will be 4 inches. So let's assume that this is where our 4 inches is. And you see, I'll mark it here at this point. So that same nipple to nipple measurement, I'll bring it to the shoulder line. Okay, so I'll also bring it down to the hem, because I'm going to have the pleats straight from the shoulder all the way down to the hem of the gown. So I'll go ahead and connect the points. You see? So I'll be cutting through this line because we're going to have that pleat sitting here at this point. So right now I'll bring in my paper scissors so that we can cut out our pattern. So starting with the back neckline, I'll cut it out like this. And then I'll take out the shoulder slant. And then the armhole, like I said, the armhole is the same thing for both front and back. And then we'll cut out. So I'm going to take out the zipper bulge. Then I'm going to cut open this line. This is for both the front and back. I'm cutting open this line because we're going to have the pleat running from front to back. So you don't want to mistakenly interchange them. So this is my front. So I'm going to label this side. You can see I already have F here. So I'll label this side to F. And this is back. I'll also label the other side back so that you don't mistakenly interchange them. So now I'm going to separate the front, the center front and the center back so that I can now cut out the front neckline. Okay, so this is what we have here for the front. and this is what we have for the back. So this is center back, left and right. It is obvious already, so we have our front. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut out the fabric that we'll be using for the pleats. That's to create the pleat. Please take note of something. When transferring to my fabric, I'm going to add my half-inch sewing allowance here. I'll also add half-inch to this side that will be joining. Remember, this is for the front. Now, this is our front piece, and this is our side front and side front. This is it like this. I'm going to add half-inch to this side. I'll be using to join it to the center. I'll also add half-inch on both sides of the center piece. I'll add half-inch here also. Then at the side here, I'm going to be adding 2.5 inches for the sewing allowance. So 2.5 inches on this side, 2.5 inches on this side. So this bubu is not supposed to have too much sewing allowance. Remember, it's going to be a fitted bubu. That is why we have a zipper at the back. So I'll repeat myself. For the center piece, I'll add half-inch on both sides like this. For the side, I'll add half-inch here, and then at the side here, I'm going to add 2.5 inches for the side sewing allowance. Okay, I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. Then for the back, I'm also going to add half-inch here at the side, and then 2.5 inches at the side sewing allowance. For the center back, I'm doing the same thing. I'm adding half-inch to this side, half-inch to this side, which I'll be using to join the center back and the side back together. So I'll cut out the fabric that we'll be using to create our pleat. So to cut out that fabric, this is the measurement you need. You're going to take the measurement from the hem to the shoulder line. So in this case, I have 12.5 inches, which we assume is the full length of my client. So when I am cutting on my fabric, it's going to be 61 inches in front. So this is 61 inches. We also have 61 inches at the back. So the long strip I'll be cutting out is going to be 61 times 2, which is going to give me 124 inches, the long strip. And it's going to be 4 inches on fold. So I'll have one for this side, one for the other side, and then I'll cut it out and show us the next thing to do. So right now, I've cut out the fabric that we're going to be using for the pleats. And here, the fold I have, it's a fold of 4 inches. 3.5 is the actual measurement, so plus half-inch for the stitching allowance, so that's 4 inches. So by the time we stitch with half-inch, we're going to be left with 3.5. As you can see, I cut it on fold. I also did the same thing on the second side. So now let me show us how we're going to join them together to achieve this pleat. So this is our front piece and this is our back piece. I'm going to place them facing each other. Right side facing right side. This is how you're going to stitch it if you were to stitch. So right side facing right side, I'll just use my masking tape to tape it down like this. Can you see? So it is assumed that I have stitched with half-inch. So right side facing right side of the back facing right side of the front. You can see I'm joining the shoulders together and I'm taping it down with half-inch, which is going to be my sewing allowance. So can you see that I have joined the shoulder of the front and back together, and this is what we have, the center front and the center back. You can see our zip allowance is still open. So for the side back and the side front, so this is front and this is back, I'm also going to place them right side of the back facing right side of the front, and then I'll also take down the shoulder, which is assumed to be stitching. So I'll stitch it down with half-inch, and this is what we have on this side. You see, this is what we have on this side. So I'm just folding this half-inch in just so that we know that we are stitching with half-inch. So I'm just folding it. Then here also, I'll also place them right side facing right side. This is what you are supposed to do with your fabric. Then I'm going to use my masking tape to tape it down. So I'll have this one here on this side. And you see, so front and this is our back. So now this is the pleat we're going to be stitching on the shoulder. So after we have joined the center front and the center back, the shoulders together, we have also joined the side front and the side back, the shoulders together. I'm going to place this pleat now. And you see, I'm going to place it this way, and then I'll just use my pin to secure it. So can you see, now we are going to run a stitch here on half-inch all the way down. Having run the stitch, I'm also going to place this. Make sure that the shoulder joinings, make sure that they align here at the shoulder. Where you have it stitched at the shoulder here, make sure that the 2 points align. So I'll just pin it down also like this. You see? So I'll pin it down. So you can go ahead and stitch all three of them together at once, or you do it one after the other. If you're a beginner, it's advised to stitch one first and then stitch the other one, so that you make sure that everything is well aligned. So can you see that I have pinned it, and this is what I have? You see? So this is what I have. So, and then this pleat, the pleat will fall this way. You see? So can you see that we now have the pleat here on one side? So exactly what I have done on this side is what I'll repeat on the other side. So I'll go ahead and do it. So can you see what I have here? So what I have on the left is what I have on the right. And you see this how you are going to just stitch it. And that's exactly what I have done on my lace fabric already. So let me show us so that we can see. Can you see that I have stitched the pleat to the shoulder here? I've stitched it all the way from the shoulder downwards. A very simple way to sew it so that you don't have misalignment issues. After joining the shoulders of the side front and side back and the center front and center back, then you pin your fabric. Then you, after pinning the fabric, you're going to stitch from the shoulder line downwards this way, and then stitch from the other side downwards this way. Don't just start from the hem and then just stitch all the way to the other hem. Please start from the shoulder, stitch it downwards, and then start from this side of the shoulder, also stitch it downwards. That way your fabric will align very well. Okay, so now we'll talk about the zipper. So to fix the zipper, remember we're going to have a collar on the neckline. So the zipper will not go all the way to the built-up collar. So first I'm going to just fold my fabric this way, the right side of the back facing right side, and I'm going to stitch. I will stitch by 1.5 inches. Just stitch down from the neckline by 1.5 inches. Between 1.5 inches, 1 inch to 1.5 inches is fine. Just stitch it and stop. Let me show us my gown, so that we can see. And you see, I stitched from the neckline by 1.5 inches and then I stopped. Then I went ahead to fix the zipper down all the way from this part. Can you see? And see where the zipper stops? It stops on the hip line. You see, just above the hip line. And this is what we have. And you see our zipper. And then, of course, I went ahead to stitch the down part, the center back, all the way close. I stitched it all the way down to the hem. So now this is it for the hem. I cut out the scallop part of the lace and I attached it to the hem. You don't want to fold this. This is lace fabric I'm working with, so it will be quite thick when you fold. And you see, because of this pleat here. And apart from that, the scallop part is adding beauty to the hem of the lace. So this is actually why I did this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about now is how to sew the collar to the neckline. So for the neckline, you will notice that the neckline looks deeper than I talked about. I said I was going to use a neck depth of 6 inches. I decided to increase this neck depth to 9 inches. This is because we are going to have the built-up collar and the scallop part of the neckline, so that it's wider. By the time we close up, we'll understand what I mean. So the deeper, the better. Of course, know what it is you are okay with. Okay, so here I used 9 inches because of this collar, and we'll understand why I did that. So the first thing I'm going to do before we can cut out the collar is to measure round the neckline like this. So taking my tape from the center front, I'll take it all the way like this to the back. And here I have 14 inches. And of course it is on fold, so that means I have 28 inches. That's 14 on both sides. So I'll bring in the fabric we'll be using for the collar. So here I want the scallop part of the lace to also be on the neckline. And at the same time, I don't want this lace to fall. I want to give it that structured effect so that when it's sitting on the neckline, it will stand well so that it's not falling, okay? So here I went ahead to cut out my organdy fabric. This is like an organza, organdy, okay? I cut out organdy, okay? And I ironed hasty to it. This is just to give it a little bit of stability. And then here, this is the lace fabric that we're going to be using for our collar. And like I said, I want the scallop part of the neckline to show. So here, the organdy I have here is 2 inches on fold. And the lace fabric I have here is about 3 inches. So I'm going to place this like this. Just place them together like this. And I'll run a stitch on my sewing machine. That's to stitch them together. Can you see that the lace fabric is longer than the organdy. So this is the scallop part that I just want it to show on the neckline. So after running a stitch here, I'm going to also flip it this way and then run a stitch here just to hold the organdy down. You don't want to leave it this way. I'll hold it down and then I'll come back and show us the next thing to do. Okay, so I'm done stitching it and I also ran a stitch at the upper part. So you can see, you can't even see my stitch on the right side. Everything is looking all neat. Of course, we are using a matching thread. So next I'm going to fold my fabric this way. Can you see? And then I'm going to give it a V shape. So I'll just go ahead and just slant it this way. Okay, so just in case you want to know the measurement I used here, I went up by 4 inches and then I slanted it this way. You just want the V shape to come out well. Take note that I'm cutting the side that is not the scallop part, that's the other end. Okay, so I haven't done that. This is what I have now. So now I'll go ahead and place this scallop part of the lace like this, and then I'm going to stitch this part. Now listen carefully. I cut out this side to achieve a V neckline. This is so that it fits into the neckline I have. Now I'll take this to my sewing machine and stitch close the scallop part of the lace. Remember, as we measured the neckline, I got exactly 14 inches. Okay, so and this is it here. I added my sewing allowance of 1 inch, so I have 15 inches here. So let me trim out the excess I have so that I maintain my 15 inches. Okay, so now I'll take this to my sewing machine and stitch this scallop part. I'll just stitch like 2 inches upwards. And you see, I'll stitch 2 inches upwards from this part I cut out. This is so that I can have something like this. And you see, I want to have this and then we'll have this V shape. Can you see what I have? So I'll go stitch it and come back and show us. So after stitching close the scallop part, this is what I now have on the right side. Can you see that we have the scallop part of our lace facing each other? So I'll go ahead and trim out this excess I have here. We want to achieve something like this on the neckline. So now I'll bring in the kaftan and place it like this. So take note that this is the right side of the kaftan. So this is how we want the scallop part of the lace to be. So I'm going to place it this way on one side now. Can you see, maintaining the V shape I have here? So I'll place it this way and pin it down. Pin. You see? So I've pinned one side and this is the other side now. You see? So I'll turn the other side also like this, right side facing right side. And then I'll also secure with my pins. So can you see now that we have now gotten to the back? So this is what we have here. So I'll pin the back also. You see? So I have the collar now on the wrong side. All I need to do now is to take this to my sewing machine and then stitch round on 1/2 inch. So once we are done stitching, this is what it will look like. And you see? So I'll go do that and come back and show us what we have. So can you see? So now this is a tip on how to actually sew this collar to give you a perfect outcome like this. Please start from the V shape here, from the down part. Stitch it all the way to the center back. Stop here. And then turn it this way. And then stitch also from here to the center back. Don't just go around from this side and come back this way, especially if you are a beginner. Please stitch one side, stop at the center back, then stitch the other side and meet also at the center back. That way it will be easier for you and you will have a very neat outcome, just like the one you see right here. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is to sew the basic sleeve. This is just a basic sleeve. The special thing I did on this sleeve, not really special. All I did was just to measure the armhole from the shoulder down to the hem, which is the normal thing we always do. I measured and I got 12 inches. So I made sure that the sleeve I cut out, that the cap area is enough, which is 12 inches on one side, 12 inches on the other side, so that it fits into the armhole. You don't want to finish and have a shortage. That's just it. So it's just the basic sleeve and it's a short sleeve. My fabric couldn't give me 3/4 sleeve. That's what we actually wanted. But I just got a short sleeve. This stops at the elbow. So right now I'm going to place the sleeve like this and pin it. So if you don't know how to draft a basic sleeve, it's very simple. I'll be dropping the link to the video on how to draft a basic sleeve in the description box and in the comment section. It is really, really simple. So just watch the video, you will understand how to draft a sleeve. So I'll continue with my pinning, and this is what we have. So can you see that it fits into the armhole? So this is it. So I'll take this to my sewing machine and then stitch on 1/2 inch all the way from one side to the other, and then of course we're going to have the sleeve this way. So I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. So another thing we're going to do is to sew a pocket to this gown. So to have a pocket attached to this gown, I used the same organdy fabric like I used for the collar. So now I have 4 pieces of this organdy fabric. I have 4 pieces here. And you see, this is just it. I just placed my hand and cut out the shape of the pocket. You want to make sure that it's big enough to contain your hand. So just widen your hand. It will just be fine, and then cut out the shape. So now to attach the pocket, I'm going to measure from the shoulder. From the shoulder line, I'll mark from shoulder to 18 inches. A standard pocket starts at 18 inches, which is the waistline. But in this case, I'm going to just go up by 1 inch. I'll mark on 17 inches. I want this pocket to start from 17 inches in this case. So between 17 to 18 is a normal standard pocket. And this is where 17 inches is. So I'll just notch it and then place one side of the pocket. Can you see? So I'll place it this way. So of course you can see now that I can now pin the other end of the pocket. So the width of the pocket here, you can see I have 7.5 inches. It's 7.5 inches. So by the time I'm done stitching, I'm going to have 6 inches that will allow the hand go in. So just like I pinned this pocket here, I will also do the same thing on this side, and I'll repeat the same thing on the back piece also. Right now, I'm done stitching the sleeves to the armhole, and I also went ahead to weave the armhole to make sure my work is neat. And I've also stitched the pockets to the sides here. Please take note that while placing the pocket, I placed it on the right side of the fabric and then I stitched on 1/2 inch. So the next thing we're going to do is to shape the kaftan. To shape the kaftan, I'll be stitching on 1 inch, which is the sewing allowance I want to sew on. Remember, I added a sewing allowance of 2.5 inches. So now I'm stitching on 1 inch. So the remaining 1.5 inches is for ease, just so that it allows the kaftan to have that freedom. Okay. So I'm going to start from the sleeve opening. I will stitch on 1 inch, and then when I get to the pocket where the pocket starts from, I'll make a turn there and just turn it at this point and stitch around the pocket and come back. Can you see? And then just stitch around the pocket and come back into the kaftan again and continue stitching on 1 inch. I will stop this stitch 16 inches before the hem. This is because this gown is going to have a side slit. So I'm going to stop 16 inches before the hem. So the length of the slit is going to be 16 inches. So what I will be doing on the left, I will repeat on the right side. So I'll go do that and come back and show us. So as you can see, I'm done shaping the gown, and this is what we have. So this is our slit. Can you see that 1 inch I used to stitch the gown by the side is the same 1 inch I folded in here. So instead of leaving it open, you just need to iron it down and then stitch it down, okay, so that you don't leave it hanging. So I started from the hem, I stitched it and then made a turn at this point here, and then I took it down again. So this is it for the slit. So our gown is ready. Just going to trim out any excess thread I have and give this a very good press, and then wear it on the mannequin so that we can see the final outcome. If you have watched this video up until this point and you haven't subscribed, please kindly click on the subscribe button to subscribe, and ensure you put on your notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye.